going to be working on making a witch's hat. Will you come and join me? Hello. So what we're going to do is make this witch's hat, and I've just made a really big mistake. I've cut one and did it already, and then I cut this one too small. So what I've done is I've just sewed it back so I can show you how I did the first one. I don't know how I was just not thinking, I think. So what I've done is I've cut my peak of my hat off of my rim. Can you see this? I bought this hat into Poundland, and I've cut this piece here off here, and I've left myself about an inch. So, and that's where you want to cut it when you cut it. I don't know how I managed to cut it really short and wasn't thinking. So you just want about an inch off the bottom, okay? And then what you're going to do, now I found this was really hard, you need some sort of wire clippers or something that you can cut this wire with, and you're going to cut that out, that piece of wire, go to the end where it is there, and you'll be able to pull that apart, and you'll be able to get in there and you'll be able to cut that wire, and you'll need something like a wire clipper or something like that to get through that piece of wire, because it's a really stiff piece of wire. And then put that to one side for a moment, and then what I did was I took my fabric from the rim here and I cut it in half. So that's half of the fabric, and this is my hat. And then what I'm going to do now, take my ruler and I'm going to put it onto that black line there, and I'm going to come into here and I'm going to put a mark at 2 inches. Now because this is black, I'm just going to use a pastel like that, and I'm just going to keep coming around all the way around, getting it on the edge of that seam there, and I'm going to draw 2 inches all the way around, and I'm going to go all the way around my hat rim, and I'm going to draw a line all the way around. I'll come back when that's done. So I've got my lines on the fabric, and I'm just going to come along and join them together, making a sort of circle shape. Doesn't have to be precise. And this is 2 inches was just about enough to go onto my doll's head. There we go. There. Okay, you don't have to use pastel, you could use chalk, tailor's chalk. If you've got a white pencil, you could use a white pencil, but because it was the black, obviously I had to go with that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to snip just down onto that line like that, all the way around. There we go. So you've got snips coming all the way around your top of your hat. No, I think I'll just put another one in this end, because I want it to be able to bend. Now you've got these snips in, what you want to do is you want to take your 2 ends of your fabric and join them together, and we're going to just machine right up through there like that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take it to your sewing machine and you're going to stitch all the way along there until you get to this end piece. We don't want to stitch over this piece at the moment. We want to leave that open so that we can thread our wire back through. So now what we want to do is to take our hat and measure it on our heads. I'm just going to put it on my head and pull it down, and then I'm going to take a piece of chalk and I want to look at where I want my hat to be, and I want it to sort of the brim to come about here. So I'm going to just make a mark onto the fabric like so, and then I'm going to take it to the table. I'll just move over here so you can see better, and I'm going to take it to the table and I'm going to lay it down on my table like that. This obviously mine isn't as right because I've made a bit of a mistake with it. I want to get it nice and straight so that all the sides sort of line up. There we go. And then I'm going to take my ruler and measure it across like this and draw a line with my chalk. Oops, probably not like that. I want it to come down under that, so I'm going to bring it down there. That's better. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to marry up those two lines, so I'm going to meet the bottom line there and meet the bottom line there. I'm just going to draw across there. Like that. There we go. Now, when I lay that flat down like that, you will find that I've got a line which goes like that. So I need to just adjust those lines so that I've got getting a straighter line coming across. So if you just keep moving it around, you'll find that you get a nice sort of straight line where you want it to be. Okay, and then you'll sort of get that line. You can sort of see that line coming now in that middle piece there where it wants to be, where it's going to want you to cut it. Okay, right, all we're going to do is rub up those top lines and rub out those bottom ones with your finger like that. You want that sort of line which is running all the way sort of straight along there, and you see that line, that sort of straightness of it. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to snip up to where that sort of middle line is. It's not too there's nothing to worry about if you don't get it quite straight, but because it's a witch's hat. So we're just going up to that line there. Okay, I'm sure there must be an easier way to work out how to do it, but I just couldn't, so I was just running to the line. And we can cut a little bit of this excess off, not too much going through the machine. Okay. Now, I could not get my wire to cut no matter what I did. I used my pliers and everything, I just couldn't get it to cut. So what I did was there's a little metal piece which joins it on the end, and I got a pair of pliers on that side and a pair of pliers on that side, and I pulled it and it came apart. So when I put my other piece wire on, I don't think I'll use that wire. I think I will use something different, a different type of wire. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure when your hat goes inside this piece, you're going to put the side which has the cut on it, the dark side on the outside of your rim, and then your glittery side on the inside of that one, and then turn it around until you've got your two seams, and marry up your seams, and then come back over, look for that line and pin on that line like that, and then you know that that is where you are going to want your hat to go. Now, this outside piece is going to be bigger than your inside piece, so you're going to have to move it around all the way around like this, just gathering it and popping a pin in as you gather that around. If you want to, you can do that with a tacking stitch first all the way around and gather it into the side of your hat, but I've just found that I could just do it like this. I mean, it is literally just a witch's hat, which is probably going to be worn once or twice. Keeping those lines together, marry up the line, fold a little bit in and put your pin in it, and then just do that all the way around, and then we're just going to take it to the sewing machine and machine the two pieces together. So this is a tiny bit awkward just because you've got to make sure that the rest of your hat isn't going underneath the needle. Okay, so you're going to keep that out of the way, and you're just going to sew straight across, just like so, and you're going to go all the way around. So you're just going to sew all the way along in a straight line over the top, because you've put your pins on that white line. Okay, so you're just going to sew all the way around like that, taking your pins out as you go, and sew it all the way around to when you come back, and just do a little back stitch to finish it off. Okay, hopefully you could see that. Okay, there we go. So that is the main part of it sewn. So once you've come around and you've sewn all the way around, what you want to do is just by your stitches, the lining stitch just above it, just cut off that a little bit, so you've just got your lining stitches there, and you just want to cut just on top of it all the way around. So just finishing off cutting around the rim of my hat, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, this stuff won't fray, so you don't need to put a zigzag stitch or anything into it. So that's the rim of the hat sewn onto the point of the hat. So there you go, such a little witch's hat. Now, so this is my wire removed. What it was, this was pushed right into that metal piece. What I did was I went around the rim of the hat until I found the bit where it was joined, and I cut the hat just there so I could see where the join was, and then I took two pairs of pliers, my little mini pliers, put one on that side and one on that side, and I pulled until they came apart. I did take a bit of pulling to get them apart, but it did eventually come apart. So this wire, I just couldn't cut it. Maybe you'll have more luck with it, but I couldn't. Right, so I've got this wire, but I have got a lovely green garden wire, but my husband has pinched it to take it out to the garden. So I just grabbed this one for a second, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread it through all the way around inside the hat. Okay, and this one does cut quite easily, so I'll just pull out as much as I need, and then I'm going to just thread it through, and that should give me a nice rim on the hat. So I'm just going to thread it through where that little hole was all the way around. I'll just keep doing that until I get to the end. So what I've done is I'm just threading this last little bit in, and it keeps pulling out, so I'm just sort of pulled it back on itself like that, and I'm just pulling this around to make sure I get the right amount of wire all the way in there. Oops, I pulled it again. Just keep pulling it around until you've got all that there, and you've got no gathers on it. When you lay it out flat on the table, it should lay so that you've got no gathers in that wire. Okay, and then take your pliers and just cut that long end off, leaving in it a longish end so you can get to it. Okay, let's put that wire away. Right, so we've got the two wires here, and what I want to do, you probably won't need quite this much, but is I'm going to pull the hat a little bit out, and I'm going to twist these wires around each other like that, and then do the same on that side, and then I'll cut off those two ends, and then I'll get some black tape, or any tape, a nice sort of duct tape is what I want, and then I will cover it with the duct tape so that we don't get any sharp points at all. What you can do is make sure when you're doing it that you keep those little ends nice and tight to the rest of the wire, so you don't get any sharp bits. You don't want the child poking themselves with it. Okay, so again, if you're going to be doing this and you're going to be using these sort of tools, it's good to ask an adult to help, especially with getting that wire of the witch's hat. Yeah, it was quite a job even for me, so you have to be careful if you're a child. So we're going to bend that right over, and then I'm going to cover it in duct tape and thread it in through my hole. Okay, I've got a piece piece of duct tape here, so I'll just use this. There we go. I'm going to cover all of that where it's been pulled out like that. Just place it all the way around. Black would probably be better, but never mind. And we're going to stick it down all the way around, and then just get your scissors, not these dressmaking scissors, and trim along there. So this is a fiddly bit. You're just going to take your forceps, you're just going to take your wire and push it in to that piece there. It's going to take a few moments to do it, but just get it inside there. Okay, like that. That'll lay in nicely. And then do exactly the same on the other side. Okay, just going to push it back in around that way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a small piece of the spare black tape, which we have, this black here, and we're going to take it and we're going to fold it over the top, and we're just going to machine it right across where that join is. So this is our piece of black, and I'm just going to place it right across the top. Don't worry about the rough ends on it. Tuck those bits in like that, and then you can either hand stitch that across the top, or you can take it to your sewing machine and stitch it on just across there, just like that. So I've just gone across and I've just put the fabric on there and I've stitched right across. I think probably you might be able to do it a bit neater by hand. It might be better just to hand stitch that on, because you have to make sure you get it stitched through both sides. So that's that one done. So there we go, one witch's hat all finished and ready to go. There may be some little bits and pieces of thread on it which you might just need to neaten up, and it's all ready to go. So this is my finished witch's hat. It goes really well with my dress. I hope you like it. Goodbye.